Hi friends, today I shall be sharing with you about this most infectious virus that started here in Ladakh in India. But before that, let me tell you that like with all viruses, the best way to handle this one also is to keep fit, boost your immunity, eat healthy diets, and that's why my friend Sonam Dorje, the filmmaker, and I, Sonam Wangchuk, we use bicycles every weekend to go to our village, roughly a 60-kilometer journey on these mountain desert landscape. To tell you a little about Ladakh, it is across the Indian Himalayas, a mountain desert on the Tibetan plateau. I'll share more about the virus now on the way. So this Indian virus is 1,000 times more contagious than the Chinese virus. You speak to someone infected and you get infected. You listen to someone on phone and you get infected. You read up about the issue on social media, you get infected. What more, even if you think and reflect about it, you get infected. The only good thing is that nobody is really hurt or harmed by this virus. In fact, the country in which it spreads, it improves the economy, employment, and independence. The only entity that gets adversely affected is the current Chinese totalitarian regime, which is responsible for the spread of COVID-19 and all the death and destruction around the world, and more so, the military aggression that it has been spreading of late in many parts of the world, and most importantly for me, in my homeland in Ladakh here in India. Well, by now you must have understood that the BMIC virus is actually the Boycott Made in China movement that is spreading like a pandemic all across India as a citizen's personal economic sanctions against the Chinese regime for all its irresponsibility. What is important at this stage is that the whole world joins this movement, and citizens around the world send a message, a strong message to China that its misbehavior, arrogance, and aggression is not acceptable to the world. How to go about this in the best way so that it doesn't become an outburst of anger and arrogance, I think my video that I made a week ago explains it best. Hello, the people of the world. Once again, this last citizen from perhaps the remotest part of the planet brings you greetings from the mountains of Ladakh. This time I have come to thank you for the overwhelming response to my appeal last time to boycott Made in China. The response to my appeal has in fact been a bit too much. I understand the sentiments and emotions, but I don't see any value when people start breaking and burning Chinese goods like this. I would definitely not like it to become an outburst of emotions of hatred against anything or any country and its people. We have nothing against the Chinese people or the Chinese civilization. In fact, they are the biggest victim of this regime. And yes, we have everything against the way the regime has been behaving. And when we say boycott Chinese goods, we do it out of hope that this can bring reforms in the regime. But for us to see reforms in a regime, our actions have to be actually sustained over years. The reason why we should boycott Made in China is because this regime is using these cheap Chinese products and the 1.4 billion people who work like bonded laborers producing these cheap goods as a means to monopolize and control people and countries of the world. We should actually boycott Chinese goods for ethical reasons more than out of hatred for anyone or any country. We often don't know, and that's the problem, that we ordinary citizens of the world have immense power, and we have defeated many challenges with our wallets. Think of child labor. When citizens of the world decided we are not going to use our money to support child labor, even if things become costlier, they did it, and child labor is hardly there today. Similarly, when we decided that we won't support cruelty to animals by buying products involving that, we defeated this. And today, we are dealing with human rights and other more serious issues with the Chinese regime, and the time has come for us to once again use our wallet power. So please understand that when I say boycott made in China, it is only to stop this regime from spreading all the disharmony, destruction and death around the world. We have nothing against the people of China. In fact, I want to say that I have nothing against even the soldiers who during the skirmishes on our borders laid their lives from the Chinese side. Last time I paid tribute to the 20 Indian soldiers who were martyred in these skirmishes. This time I want to pay tribute to the Chinese soldiers who were just obeying orders from this regime, whose parents, more specially, must be suffering a lot of pain, and I want to convey my condolences, because when they gave their sons, it was perhaps not for an unceremonious end like they see now. We must not forget that these soldiers were the only child of their parents under the one-child policy. The parents must not have expected such an uncelebrated funeral for their only son. Unlike the Indian soldiers who were given a most colorful funeral. Okay, now we have almost reached our alternative university called the Himalayan Institute of Alternatives. It's all fully solar powered and built of earth or soil, eco-friendly, and an example for the mountain world of harmonious development. Well, this is the end of our bicycle trip. Thank you for being a part of it. Before I depart, I want to appeal to all the citizens of the world, both inside China and outside, to do everything possible in their hands to stop this regime from inflicting further pain and suffering on the world. You want to know more about this movement? Please watch my other video entitled "Help Me Change China." Thank you very much. We shall overcome someday.